After this video, you'll stop being the nice guy forever. Machiavelli. They told you to be kind, to smile, to forgive, to always understand others. Even when they crush your soul under the weight of their selfishness, you obeyed. You believed that being good would make you loved, respected, and safe. But instead, it made you invisible. The truth is brutal. The world doesn't reward kindness. It exploits it. People don't cherish the nice guy. They drain him, then replace him with someone who dares to say no. You see, Machiavelli never hated goodness. He simply understood power. He saw that in the human jungle, virtue without strength is just another form of weakness. And weakness in any century has never inspired respect, only pity, manipulation, and quiet contempt. There is a silent tragedy that lives in every nice guy. He doesn't realize that his kindness has become a mask, not a choice, but a survival strategy. Deep down, he is terrified of rejection, of conflict, of being disliked. So he sacrifices truth for harmony, self-respect for validation, peace for approval. He becomes a prisoner in his own smile. But behind that smile hides something darker, a quiet resentment growing stronger each day. Machiavelli would have called this the seed of revolt, when a man starts to realize that his virtue has become his own cage. Today, you'll discover why that happens and how to break free. This is not a lesson in cruelty, but in equilibrium. To stop being the nice guy doesn't mean becoming ruthless or cold. It means reclaiming your spine, the silent strength to say enough. It means learning to give without being drained, to love without being used, to help without disappearing. It means understanding that true kindness must be rooted in power, not in fear. In the next few minutes, we'll explore what Machiavelli understood about human nature, truths so uncomfortable that most people still deny them. We'll uncover how your mind has been conditioned to associate being nice with being good, when in reality, they are not the same. You'll see why the men and women who command respect are rarely the ones who try to please everyone, and why those who fear being disliked will never be truly free. Stay until the end, because there's a revelation waiting, a truth that will change how you see yourself and the way others treat you forever. It's the truth that once you understand, you can never unsee. Before we begin, I want you to write one phrase in the comments, a declaration to yourself: no more masks. Because from this moment on, this journey isn't about becoming liked. It's about becoming real, so breathe deeply. Let go of the false warmth that made you small, and prepare yourself for what Machiavelli truly meant when he said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Centuries ago, when Niccolo Machiavelli observed the courts of Florence, he noticed something disturbing. The most virtuous men were often the weakest. They were admired for their morality, but powerless in the real game of life. Their goodness was ornamental, not functional. It served others more than themselves. In his book, The Prince, Machiavelli didn't glorify cruelty as many think. He exposed hypocrisy. He saw that those who claimed to act with pure virtue often hid ambition behind pious words, while those who appeared ruthless were simply honest about the rules of survival. The true essence of Machiavelli's teaching wasn't to destroy morality. It was to separate genuine strength from fake virtue. The nice guy archetype is a modern reincarnation of those powerless courtiers. He tries to please, to be moral, to be harmless, believing this will make the world love him. But nature doesn't reward harmlessness. Look at the animal kingdom. A lion that loses its dominance doesn't receive compassion. It gets exiled. A wolf that avoids confrontation doesn't keep peace. It starves. Nature's law is balance, not sentiment. Even the Buddha, often seen as a symbol of peace, taught that compassion without wisdom leads to suffering. True virtue is not passive. It is awareness in action. Through time, religions, education, and cultural systems reshaped this truth. The world began to glorify obedience over strength, modesty over authenticity, compliance over individuality. The word good slowly became synonymous with harmless. And in this distortion, people learned to suppress their natural assertiveness. They confused silence with peace, self-denial with humility, submission with love. But Machiavelli's lens shattered this illusion. He revealed that morality without power becomes a tool, not a virtue. When you are too good, you make others comfortable in their manipulation. You teach them how to treat you. Philosophically, the nice guy represents the disconnection between heart and will. A man who feels deeply but acts weakly. His tragedy is not his goodness, but his imbalance. He believes he must choose between being kind or being strong, when in truth, the two were never meant to be separate. Machiavelli would say, a ruler must be both lion and fox, strength and strategy. The modern world forgot this. It taught men to be foxes who fear their own claws, and so the world filled with broken spirits. People who do everything right but feel empty. They help, but no one helps them. They forgive, but no one respects them. They are moral, but invisible. This is not virtue, it is self-erasure disguised as goodness. Machiavelli's warning echoes across centuries. If you live only to be liked, you will live as a servant to every opinion that passes. Real virtue, real peace, begins only when you no longer trade your authenticity for acceptance. Now that you understand where this mask comes from, how culture taught you to fear your own shadow, we must look within. What does it truly mean to be nice? Why does it so often turn into weakness instead of wisdom? Machiavelli never used the word nice, yet he dissected its essence centuries ago. He spoke of appearance, manipulation, fear, and control, all forces that govern human interaction. To free yourself, you must see not only how others use your niceness, but how you use it against yourself. This is where your awakening begins. The illusion of goodness. You believe you are being good when you avoid conflict, when you let others take advantage, when you sacrifice your comfort to keep peace. But Machiavelli would call that strategic blindness. He observed that people judge actions by results, not intentions. A good heart without boundaries produces bad outcomes, resentment, exhaustion, exploitation. The world doesn't read your motives. It reads your posture. When you say yes to everything, your kindness becomes noise. True goodness isn't measured by how much you give, but by how consciously you give it. Kindness without power is like a sword without a blade, symbolic, but useless. The illusion of goodness is the greatest enemy of self-respect. The fear of rejection. The nice guy isn't kind because he wants to be. He's kind because he's afraid not to be. His smile hides the terror of disapproval. He believes love must be earned through constant compliance. But Machiavelli's realism crushes that fantasy. Men are ungrateful, fickle, and deceitful, he wrote, and will abandon you when it suits their advantage. Acceptance built on fear is temporary. Respect built on strength endures. You must become comfortable with rejection because rejection filters authenticity. Every no you receive purifies your circle and strengthens your spine. The moment you no longer need approval, you become magnetic. The currency of power. In every relationship, something invisible is exchanged. Energy, attention, time, emotion. Machiavelli would call it power currency. The nice guy spends lavishly. He gives it all away. He apologizes for existing, over-explains his worth, and bends his schedule around others. But when you over-invest where it isn't reciprocated, you bankrupt your self-value. Power, like money, requires management. Spend it with purpose, invest it where it multiplies. Withdraw from those who drain. Control of your emotional economy is the first step towards sovereignty. Stop giving discounts on your energy. The seduction of approval. Machiavelli warned rulers never to depend entirely on the favor of others, for it changes like the wind. The nice guy does the opposite. He becomes addicted to applause. He performs empathy to earn affection, but approval is a mirage. It evaporates the moment you stop feeding it. The more you chase it, the less you own yourself. The real seduction is autonomy. To stand firm in silence when misunderstood, to know who you are without echo. Approval is pleasant, but independence is intoxicating. Ask yourself, do you want to be admired or free? 5. The hidden rage behind the smile of the nice guy lives anger. Suppressed, polite, corrosive. Every unspoken no, every forced smile becomes a poison that slowly leaks into the soul. Machiavelli would see this as a dangerous instability because suppressed energy always seeks expression, often through passive aggression or sudden explosions. You cannot transcend what you refuse to confront. To regain power, you must meet that buried rage with honesty, not shame. Anger is not evil, it's information. It tells you where your boundaries have been crossed. Learn to use it as a compass, not a weapon. Pause here and ask yourself, what do I fear would happen if I stopped being nice? Write it in the comments. Confronting that fear is the first act of liberation. 6. The law of boundaries. Machiavelli taught that a prince must draw clear lines between friend and foe. Ambiguity invites betrayal. Likewise, your peace demands structure. Being endlessly accommodating invites invasion. Boundaries are not walls. They are gates. You decide who passes. When you define them, weak people disappear. Strong ones respect you. The world tests you constantly. How much of yourself are you willing to give up? Your answer teaches others your value. Set limits not out of coldness, but out of clarity. Boundaries do not push love away. They purify it. The myth of self-sacrifice. You were told that to love is to lose yourself, that to help you must suffer. But Machiavelli understood that self-preservation is the foundation of influence. A leader who neglects himself cannot serve his people. Likewise, you cannot pour from an empty soul. The nice guy believes martyrdom is noble. In truth, it's control disguised as virtue, an attempt to earn worth through suffering. Real service comes from abundance, not depletion. Protect your energy so your kindness carries strength instead of desperation. The mirror of manipulation. Ironically, the nice guy often manipulates without realizing it. His good deeds hide unspoken expectations. If I'm kind, you'll love me. Machiavelli would call this emotional politics. It's a transaction pretending to be purity. When the reward doesn't come, bitterness appears. The cure is brutal honesty. Give because you choose to, not because you crave return. Stop trading favors for affection. Freedom begins the moment you act without hidden contracts. The necessity of discomfort. Machiavelli saw comfort as decay. Growth lives in friction. The nice guy avoids confrontation to preserve peace, but that peace is rot in disguise. Every truth you avoid grows teeth. Learn to stand in tension without flinching. Speak when your voice trembles. Discomfort is the forge where character is tempered. The moment you can stay calm while others panic, you become untouchable. Those who master discomfort rule those who flee from it. The paradox of respect doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being consistent. Machiavelli noticed that people follow those who act decisively, even if they disagree with them. Indecision breeds contempt. When you make clear choices, even unpopular ones, you create gravitational pull. The nice guy hesitates, dilutes, apologizes, but authority is quiet certainty. Respect is not demanded. It's demonstrated through conviction. Once you stop negotiating your truth, the world rearranges itself around your energy. These 10 lessons expose the architecture of niceness, a system built on fear, confusion, and self-betrayal. Machiavelli would whisper that the cure is not cruelty, but clarity. To become powerful, you don't need to destroy your heart. You need to integrate it with your will. Strength without compassion is tyranny. Compassion without strength is slavery. In the next part, we will go deeper into the invisible games of manipulation, attraction, and power dynamics that govern modern relationships. You will see why those who appear ruthless often possess the purest boundaries, and why your transformation into an authentic, balanced self will silently change every connection in your life. By now, you understand that being nice is often a disguise for fear, but beneath that fear lies something more ancient: the inner negotiation between your authentic self and your social mask. Machiavelli knew this balance well. He saw that human beings wear masks not because they're evil, but because they are afraid of being exposed. In this second part, we will go deeper into the paradoxes that shape your behavior, the lies you tell yourself, the illusions that keep you small, and the unspoken truth that the world does not change for the harmless. It bends for the self-possessed. The paradox of virtue. The most dangerous illusion ever created is the idea that being virtuous means being submissive. Machiavelli saw that morality is often used as a weapon by the powerful. They preach virtue to keep others obedient. He wrote, "Men in general judge more by the eyes than by the hands," meaning people don't care if you are good. They care if you look good. The nice guy has swallowed this poison. He believes moral perfection will earn him love, but life doesn't work that way. Power respects balance, not purity. Virtue without courage turns you into prey. If you want to remain moral, learn first to remain strong. Without power, your goodness will always serve someone else's agenda. The shadow of the savior, the nice guy often plays the savior. He rescues others to feel worthy. He confuses compassion with control. But every time you save someone who refuses to save themselves, you rob them of their lesson and yourself of your peace. Machiavelli would call this misplaced investment. When you help out of guilt or to prove your worth, your kindness becomes tyranny. You keep others weak so that you can feel strong. True service requires detachment. Help if it aligns with your purpose, not to feed your insecurity. The greatest compassion is sometimes to let others face their own storms. The addiction to harmony, peace, is sacred, but peace at any cost is slavery. The nice guy fears conflict so deeply that he betrays truth to maintain calm. But Machiavelli warned that avoiding small conflicts breeds larger wars. The energy you repress doesn't disappear. It transforms into silent resentment. Every time you stay quiet when you should speak, your soul pays the debt. Harmony cannot exist without friction. The goal is not to avoid storms, but to become the calm within them. Say what must be said, even if your voice shakes. The world respects those who choose truth over comfort. The illusion of selflessness. Society glorifies selflessness, but Machiavelli understood that even saints act from desire. The desire to serve, to belong, to find meaning. The nice guy tries to erase this desire, pretending to want nothing. But self-denial is not holiness. It's fear of desire itself. You cannot be spiritual while despising your human needs. Power begins when you acknowledge what you want without shame. Selfishness becomes destructive only when it ignores others. Integrated desire, however, becomes purpose. To be truly generous, you must first be full. A starving man cannot feed the world. The trap of predictability. Predictable people are easy to control. Machiavelli taught rulers to be unpredictable, to confuse those who seek to manipulate them. The nice guy, however, is painfully predictable. He always says yes, always forgives, always explains. Predictability makes you transparent. Transparency makes you expendable. You must learn the art of mystery, to speak less, reveal less, and act from inner intention, not social expectation. When people cannot anticipate your next move, they respect your presence. As Machiavelli implied, control begins with opacity. Let them wonder where you stand. Comment now. Write the phrase, "I owe no one my predictability." It's not arrogance, it's freedom. The confusion between love and approval. The nice guy doesn't seek love. He seeks permission to exist. He confuses validation with connection. But Machiavelli saw that affection given out of pity is more dangerous than hate. Real love requires polarity, the magnetic tension between independence and intimacy. When you erase yourself to be loved, you kill attraction. The most powerful relationships are not built on submission, but on respect between equals. Don't chase affection, radiate self-possession. Those meant to love you will meet you there. Those who can't were never meant to stay. The sin of dishonesty. Ironically, the nice guy lies constantly, not out of malice, but out of fear. He says, "It's fine," when it's not. He says, "I don't mind," when he does. Each small lie protects him from confrontation but distances him from authenticity. Machiavelli said, "A prince never lacks legitimate reason to break his word," meaning that in politics, words are tools, but in personal life, truth is freedom. When you speak your mind calmly, you teach the world to treat you honestly. Every truth withheld is a stone added to your own prison wall. The myth of the balanced heart. Many think the goal is to become perfectly balanced, half light, half dark, a peaceful middle. But Machiavelli would disagree. Balance is not static, it's dynamic, like a dancer shifting weight. The nice guy tries to freeze balance, to remain endlessly calm, endlessly kind. Yet nature doesn't freeze, it flows. Real strength is adaptability, not stillness. There are times to yield like water and times to strike like fire. To be both gentle and formidable, that is true mastery. Do not seek balance as an identity, live it as a rhythm. The secret of emotional authority. People follow those who regulate their emotions. When you can stay centered while others panic, you radiate authority. The nice guy collapses under tension. He mirrors the moods of others. Machiavelli observed that rulers must appear composed even when chaos reigns. This isn't deception, it's leadership. Emotional authority means you choose your state. You don't borrow it from others. Calm is not weakness, it's strategy. Every moment you remain unmoved by drama, you reclaim energy once stolen by fear. 10. The silent revolution. There comes a moment when the nice guy finally breaks. He stops explaining, stops overgiving, stops apologizing for existing. It's not rage, it's awakening. Machiavelli would call this the moment of necessita. Necessity, when a person transforms because they can no longer survive as they were. Your silence becomes your rebellion, your detachment, your power. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer justify, you act. This revolution is invisible to the world, but unmistakable to those who once controlled you. They will say, "You've changed," and you'll answer, "I finally arrived." These 10 paradoxes reveal a harsh truth. The nice guy is not good. He is scared. He confuses compliance with virtue, avoidance with peace, politeness with love. But as Machiavelli understood, the world respects boundaries more than benevolence. To stop being the nice guy is to reconcile your shadow and your light, to stand between both and act from awareness. The transformation isn't loud. It doesn't require revenge or arrogance. It's a quiet return to sovereignty. When your words mean something again, your time carries weight and your kindness regains dignity. In the next section, you'll learn how to practice this in your daily life. How to act. Speak and think like a person who gives without losing themselves. You'll discover the techniques that transmute approval-seeking into confidence, anxiety into command, and suppressed emotion into silent power. Understanding the laws of power is useless if they stay in your head. Knowledge without embodiment is vanity. Machiavelli wrote for rulers, but his wisdom applies to every soul who must rule their own life. Now comes the work. To transform theory into posture, words into energy, reflection into reality. You don't need to dominate others. You need to master the kingdom within, the impulses, fears, and emotions that have governed you for years. In this section, you will learn to act differently, speak differently, and think differently. Not from pride, but from presence. Because true power is silent discipline. It's the moment when you choose clarity instead of confusion, self-respect instead of performance, and calm instead of chaos. These are the Machiavellian practices of inner sovereignty. The discipline of no begin by reclaiming your right to refuse. Each time you say yes when you mean no, you wound yourself. Practice the art of polite rejection. Start small. Decline one unnecessary request each day. No justification, no guilt. A simple, calm refusal. At first it will burn, the withdrawal symptoms of approval addiction. But soon that burn becomes freedom. Every no builds muscle. Machiavelli would call this training your will. A ruler who cannot refuse is not a ruler but a servant. Your life is your court. Govern it. 2. The mirror exercise. Stand before a mirror once a day. Look yourself in the eyes, not your reflection, but the person you've abandoned through politeness. Say aloud, "I am not here to please, I am here to live." Hold your gaze until the discomfort fades. This simple ritual rewires your self-image. Machiavelli believed perception creates reality. When you see authority in your own eyes, others will too. Confidence is not built in public. It's practiced in silence. The boundary contract. Write down 3 rules that no one crosses again. For example, no one mocks my values without consequence. No one dictates my time without permission. No one manipulates me through guilt. Read them daily. Post them where you work. Each rule is a wall of energy that stabilizes your identity. Machiavelli would say, fortify your city before you need to defend it. Boundaries are your fortresses. Build them while it's peaceful. Strategic speech. The nice guy waste power through unnecessary words. Your next practice, shorten your sentences. Speak only when necessary. Replace explanations with statements. When asked why you said no, simply smile and say, "It doesn't feel right." Mystery commands respect. Machiavelli advised rulers to reveal intentions only when results are secure. In daily life, this means silence becomes your armor. Every word withheld increases your gravity. Emotional detachment training. Once a day, consciously detach from an outcome. If someone ignores your message, resist the urge to overthink. If plans fail, breathe instead of panic. Detachment is not indifference, it's trust in your ability to adapt. Machiavelli's wisdom. Fortune favors the bold, but punishes the desperate. Emotional detachment makes you bold. You stop begging life to behave. You start shaping it. Observe everything. Cling to nothing. The ritual of stillness. 10 minutes daily. Sit in silence. No phone, no music, no conversation. Just the rhythm of your breath. The nice guy fills silence with apology. The powerful man breathes through it. Stillness sharpens perception. It reveals who respects you genuinely and who only thrives on your noise. This ritual cleans your energetic field. When you can remain calm without external validation, you become emotionally sovereign. Energy economy. Audit your emotional spending. Each evening ask, where did my energy go today? Write it down. Identify leaks, people, habits, screens, gossip, self-doubt. Then close the leaks one by one. Energy is currency. Machiavelli would remind you, a wise ruler never bankrupts his treasury. Protect your attention like gold. Give it where it multiplies. Creativity, discipline, truth. Withdraw it from chaos. Assertive presence. Exercise when you enter a room, slow down. Walk deliberately. Breathe deeply. Don't rush to greet or fill silence. Observe. Command begins with composure. Machiavelli noted that rulers who appear unhurried are perceived as powerful because control of time signals control of destiny. Practicing physical stillness trains psychological dominance. Your presence becomes statement enough. Calm, self-possessed, untouchable. Reversal of favor stop, giving where you are not valued. This week, perform one reversal. Withdraw a favor, delay a response, decline a task that drains you. Observe who resents it. They are those who benefited from your lack of boundaries. Do not apologize. Machiavelli said, offend in one blow, meaning make your correction firm and final. Retraining others is an act of mercy. It teaches them the cost of disrespect. Hab. Daily power affirmation. Each morning, repeat softly, I serve peace, not approval. I choose clarity over comfort. I lead myself. Say it until it shapes your tone, your gestures, your choices. You are rewriting neural pathways built on submission. Words become commands to the subconscious. Speak them like royal decrees. The mind believes what it hears often enough. Feel it. Strategic kindness. Kindness is not dead. It's strategic now. Help those who value your help. Praise those who act in good faith. Machiavelli warned that generosity must be precise, not blind, or it breeds dependency. Give sparingly but meaningfully. Let your acts of care surprise, not enslave. When your kindness carries boundaries, it gains weight. People stop taking. They start appreciating. Embrace conflict as teacher once per week. Face one small confrontation you'd normally avoid. It might be clarifying a misunderstanding, defending a boundary, or disagreeing calmly. You'll feel the tremor of fear. Breathe through it. Machiavelli saw conflict as the forge of respect. Handled consciously, it becomes intimacy. When you stop fearing disagreement, you begin to communicate truthfully. And truth, consistently spoken, builds a legacy stronger than affection. The night reflection before sleep. Replay your day in memory, but without judgment. Notice moments where you betrayed yourself to please, or moments where you stood firm. Whisper gratitude for each correction, however small. Machiavelli spent nights studying history by candlelight to learn from ancient rulers. You will study your own life the same way. Power grows through self-observation. Awareness is your teacher. Silence your book. Fornies. Healing the inner child. Every nice guy began as a child who learned that love was conditional. Close your eyes and picture that child. Tell him, you don't need to earn love anymore. You are allowed to exist. This inner dialogue rewrites emotional memory. Machiavelli analyzed power in nations. Psychology applies it within. When your inner child feels safe, your adult self stops negotiating worth. Peace replaces performance. 15. Integration of shadow. The parts of you that crave dominance, anger, desire. Do not exile them. Invite them, listen, ask what they need. Every shadow holds raw energy waiting for direction. Channel it into creation, discipline, purpose. The lion and the monk must coexist. Machiavelli would nod. Only a ruler who knows his beast governs wisely. You are both the light and the blade. Integrate them, do not choose. Strategic withdrawal power often lies in retreat. Once a month, disconnect completely for a day. No phone, no social obligations, no explanations. Disappear to recharge. When you return, notice how others react. Absence is a test of influence. Those who truly value you will reach out. Machiavelli advised princes to make themselves desired by scarcity. The same law governs human respect. What withdraws with purpose multiplies its value. Redefinition of value. Write a new definition of worth unrelated to service. List traits that exist even if you never please again. Insight, loyalty, discipline, humor, resilience. Read it every morning. This is your inner constitution. Machiavelli wrote political constitutions to stabilize nations. You write one to stabilize your identity. Never again measure yourself by usefulness to others. Measure by alignment with truth. 18. Forgiveness as strategy. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It's release of leverage. When you hold grudges, enemies own your focus. When you forgive, you reclaim attention. Machiavelli observed that smart rulers pardon when vengeance brings no advantage. Apply this wisdom. Forgive when it frees energy. Let go not out of weakness but calculation. Freedom of mind is the highest throne. How? Presence ritual. Before speaking. Before important conversations, pause for 3 breaths. Feel your feet, your breath, your heartbeat, then speak slowly. Presence lowers manipulation because it centers you in truth. Machiavelli's princes rehearsed speeches before addressing the court. You prepare your nervous system before addressing the world. This micro-ritual turns anxiety into authority. Mao, the code of self-respect. Finally, write your personal Machiavellian code. 10 sentences that define how you operate. I do not beg. I do not chase. I observe more than I speak. My kindness is deliberate. My time sacred. My peace non-negotiable. Read it aloud weekly. It will become the architecture of your energy. The nice guy dissolves. The sovereign emerges. When practiced daily, these disciplines don't make you cruel. They make you whole. The world will feel different. Not because people changed, but because you stopped collapsing. Your tone will deepen. Your decisions will carry gravity. Your relationships will recalibrate. Some will fall away. Others will rise to meet your frequency. That's not loss. That's purification. And in that purification, the Machiavellian lesson becomes sacred. Power and peace are not opposites. They are twins born from truth. There comes a moment when every man who has lived too long in politeness must face a terrifying truth. No one will give you permission to be free. You have to take it, quietly, without violence, without bitterness, but with unwavering certainty. The nice guy dies the day you stop begging for understanding. The day you no longer explain yourself. The day you stop trying to make everyone comfortable at the cost of your own soul. That is the silent rebirth Machiavelli spoke of. The moment when a man stops existing as decoration and starts living as decision. The world you once feared begins to look different. You no longer seek safety in compliance. You find it in clarity. You understand that love, respect, and power are not gifts from others. They are responses to your energy. The stronger your boundaries, the deeper your connections, the calmer your presence, the louder your influence. The less you chase, the more the universe bends toward your gravity. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. You are not rejecting the world. You are simply refusing to negotiate your worth within it. Machiavelli understood human nature as a mirror, not as condemnation, but as education. He showed that power, when purified of illusion, becomes freedom. The same principle applies to your life. When you stop fearing disapproval, manipulation loses its grip. When you stop performing kindness to be accepted, love becomes authentic again. When you stop apologizing for your space, people begin to notice your presence. You finally live not to be seen, but to see clearly what deserves your energy and what drains it. The paradox is that when you stop being the nice guy, you become truly kind. Because kindness born of strength is pure. It asks for nothing. It comes from overflow, not emptiness. You no longer help out of guilt, but out of choice. You no longer forgive out of fear, but out of sovereignty. You no longer serve because you need validation, but because service has become your nature. You love, but you do not beg. You care, but you do not collapse. You give, but you remain whole. That is the essence of enlightened power, the fusion of compassion and command. Understand this. To live by Machiavelli's truth is not to become ruthless. It is to become awake. You stop being a puppet in a theater of manipulation and start seeing the invisible strings that have moved you since childhood. The fear of rejection, the addiction to harmony, the worship of approval. You cut them one by one, and as you do, something extraordinary happens. Your silence becomes your presence, your calm becomes your authority, and your self-respect becomes your crown. People will notice the change. Some will admire you, some will fear you, some will try to test you to see if your strength is real or performative. Let them. You don't have to prove anything. Power that must prove itself is insecurity disguised as dominance. True power doesn't shout, it shapes reality. You walk into a room and the atmosphere adjusts, not because you demanded it, but because you mastered the energy that once controlled you. That is the quiet revolution of the healed man. And yes, it will cost you. You will lose the comfort of being liked by everyone. You will lose the illusion that peace is built on compliance. You will lose the addictive sweetness of fake harmony. But what you gain is infinitely greater: self-trust. The sacred ability to rely on yourself, to make choices from authenticity rather than fear. This is the foundation of all influence, all love, all peace. A person who trusts themselves becomes ungovernable. They no longer seek control, because they are control. Remember, Machiavelli never said that it's better to be cruel. He said it's better to be whole, to see both your light and your darkness, and to use them wisely. To know when to yield like water and when to stand like stone. To understand that your empathy is a gift only when it flows through strength. Every act of forgiveness, every boundary, every silence, all become tools of sovereignty when guided by awareness. This is how a man rules his inner kingdom, not through domination, but through mastery. Now, listen closely. There will come a moment soon when someone tests your new strength. A family member, a friend, a colleague. Someone will ask for more than you should give. Your old instincts will awaken, the urge to please, to justify, to yield. But this time, you will pause. You will feel the familiar guilt rise in your chest, and you will breathe through it. You will smile calmly and say, no. That single word will vibrate through your nervous system like a sacred bell. It will mark the death of the nice guy and the birth of a man who knows peace. From that day on, everything changes. You will walk differently. You will speak slower. You will listen without fear. You will give with dignity. Your presence will carry the weight of someone who has faced themselves. That is what people feel when they say, there's something different about you. What they are feeling is sovereignty, the union of awareness and strength, the invisible aura of a person who has nothing left to prove. If Machiavelli lived today, he would tell you this: the world doesn't need more nice people. It needs more real ones. Men and women who act from truth, not terror, who understand that mercy without structure breeds chaos, and love without limits breeds pain. You were not born to be a servant of approval. You were born to walk with grace, to love without fear, and to stand so silently firm that even your absence speaks. So let this be your initiation. When this video ends, don't rush back into distraction. Sit in silence for a minute. Feel your breath. Feel the weight of everything you once called kindness, the exhaustion, the guilt, the quiet resentment, and then let it go. Imagine yourself walking away from it like a man leaving a burning house, not with rage, but with calm certainty that he'll never live there again. Write in the comments one final declaration. I choose respect over approval. Let those words anchor in your mind like a vow, because from this moment on, you are no longer performing goodness. You are embodying truth. You will still be kind, still be compassionate, but never again at the cost of your self-worth. And when life tests you, when people misunderstand your silence or call you cold, remember, they are not rejecting you. They are meeting the version of you they can no longer manipulate. Smile. You owe no explanations. You are free. So go and live as Machiavelli intended, not as a tyrant, but as a ruler of your own energy. Walk through this world calm, grounded, unbothered. Give generously, speak deliberately, and love wisely. The era of being the nice guy is over. The era of being whole has begun.